Going live.
Be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL. There's Willie Mason.
That's forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie and the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Plus. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome to episode number 21 of The Take with Willie and Iain. Mate, I reckon that was 30 seconds. We got told we had to wait. It's really difficult with Zoom. Can't hear anything.
Isn't it? It is. I can't hear. I go, yeah, 30 seconds and then you can start. So hopefully it was 30 seconds. What's going on?
Mate, I was trying to count and then I lost interest halfway through and now who knows? Mate, look, it's another week of lockdown. It's another week of people really trying to do the right thing, and watching people struggle through this has been really difficult. You know, the construction sites have been shut down. There's people that are really doing it tough, and I guess both of us really want to just give a shout out to everyone. And you know, we're all in this together.
Yeah, we are. It's been tough. I mean, like, for everyone. You know, especially the construction fellas last week. They got told they can't work. You know, everything is just so. You know, the mainstream media just keep plugging like vaccines, get tested and all this kind of stuff. There's nothing about suicides. There's nothing about the rise in domestic violence. All this shit is real that we're saying right now. You know, it's just it's horrifying what's going on. You know, and everyone's struggling. Everyone's going through their hard times, and you know, like the amount of people that are stuck at home right now. Just say if you're a construction worker, everything is structured. You know, your whole life is structured around work, family, all this kind of stuff. And now that's getting taken away from you. People would be spending more time together. And it happened last year. You know, the rise in domestic violence was something crazy. Suicides, this is the reality that we're living in. And just be be mindful of that. You know, people just, it's not a public service announcement or anything like that or a lecture, but just be mindful. If anybody needs help, if anyone's struggling, if you know something going on in, domestic violence ways and all that kind of stuff, try and help people out. Stop being that person that's taking photos of a person with no mask. Don't be that dude. That's not Australian. Just dobbing on each other, just trying to, make yourself feel better. Don't be that piece of shit. Everyone at this time, in times of need, you got to help other people. Everyone's going through struggles and everyone deals with it in different ways. And I think everyone just needs to help each other at this time now. It's this is some real crazy times, the craziest moments in our lives. I think we haven't been through anything like this. So
no,
I think
of course not.
People just need to help each other. Just be aware of what sort of person you are, and try and help. Because it sucks for everyone.
I think it's right,
it's
Will.
Terrible, man.
It's one of the things I think people just need to be a bit kind to each other. A bloke that you know quite well as I do, he's just started a new business, and obviously it's a pretty bad time to start a new business. And last week he put out a thing saying that tradies could come in and get 20% off the particular thing that he was selling. And people literally started flooding his social media saying, oh, why are you singling out the tradies? Everyone's doing it tough. Like if someone's trying to do a nice thing, we're all in this together. Like everyone just needs to be a little bit calm and a little bit nice to each other, I think.
If you watch if you look at mainstream media, it's just panic. That's what they're trying to do to everyone. Just make everyone panic, get the vaccines, all this kind of stuff. That's it's just a scaremonger sort of tactic, and it sucks and it works on the average sort of person. But we've got to help each other out in these times. Not everyone's doing it. Not everyone can just sit back and relax. Like people through their 20s and 30s, 40s, 50s, they've been working their asses off. Next minute, you get told not to work, especially the tradies. I'm talking to the tradies, the construction boys. They make Australia go around. Now, all those guys are at home now. Their whole life is structured around their work. They go to the pub. I'm not stereotyping, but they go to the pub, they hang out with their mates, all that kind of stuff. Now, that's all taken away. Now they're going to be at home. You know what I mean? That's when the problems start rising. So just be aware if you are like in that situation and you're sort of that person that's going to drink a lot and everything else, just be mindful of it. There's always help out there. A lot of people want to help.
Yeah, and I think that's important too. I think people reach out to people that you care about and that care about you. And if you're doing it tough, then make sure you talk to people. And even as little as, your family and your friends are the bedrock of your life. And that's across everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. And so everybody goes through their own things. Reach out, even if it's like social media for me is a very strange world. But if you reach out through social media, then people will answer. So, I hope
Just
everyone's doing it okay.
Yeah. Just don't be that dude, that person who's going to take photos of someone without a mask. You know, take photos of if someone's doing the absolute wrong thing, spitting on people and all that kind of stuff. That's sort of stupid shit. You know, then do something about it. But not if the bloke hasn't got a mask. You don't know what the financial position he's in. The next minute you're going to cost him, $1,000, potentially $11,000, just so you feel better about yourself. Like, stop being an idiot.
Yeah. And I think one thing that sport has provided in this time is something for people to take their minds off it. And I think, as again we said last week, full credit to the NRL and the AFL for pivoting as well as they have and for being able to provide the games. Which is, I guess, where we are now. We're just here talking. Yeah. We know that footy's, our podcast, we love doing it. We know it's not the most important thing in the world, but for us, it's something to look forward to every week as well. We consider him, we can have a few beers, drinking Young Henrys and having a chat that we normally would anyway. Yeah. But Tevita Pangai Jr. Now, I don't know if the Penrith deal is over the line, but as of the time that we're going to air, there is a huge amount of talk that the Penrith deal is going to happen. Which sort of came out of nowhere. What is definite is that he signed a 3-year deal with the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. He's probably the best destructive ball-running back rower since you, really, that club's had. Were you aware that this was happening in any way, William?
Yeah, I did. I knew it was on the cards probably about a month ago. I spoke to Trent Barrett about it and, a few other guys, hierarchy at the Bulldogs. And, I've known Big T since he was a young kid. So I had that relationship with him. And I don't work for the Bulldogs. I don't do anything like that. I have no agenda. I care about the kid. I genuinely care about the kid. I don't think he's been coached properly, and I don't think he's been in the right environment up there. And they keep stuffing him around in his position. I think he's a left side back rower. Carries the ball in his left hand, comes off his left foot, right palm, all that kind of stuff. He's just destructive. He's one of the most destructive ball runners in the game. Him and David Fafita, they're just unbelievable. And congratulations to the Bulldogs because they've got him. He could be, I think he's going to be at his peak when he's at the Bulldogs. He's only 24, 25 years old. He's on a 3-year deal. You got Burton. I'm not sure who's going to be halfback. Maybe Flanagan. Definitely not Lachlan Lewis. So Flanagan. Burton, Pangai Jr., Naden, Fox, Dufty around the back. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Jack Hetherington, I think Paul Vaughan might be around there somewhere. Thompson, Josh Jackson, Fatala Mariner. You're talking about a decent side, and potentially there's a couple of, I know Harry Grant, Brandon Smith are off contract or somewhere around after 2022, and one of those players will be asking for big dollars, and you can only play one of those kids. They're both the best two hookers in the game, and Damien Cook. But I think if you can snag one of those kids, then you're talking like top 4, top 8 easily. So top 8 next year, top 4. And I just think the signing of Pangai Jr. is going to bring a lot of other players. And Gus Gould, don't forget about Gus. Gus is probably the best signing that the club has got. He knows the culture of the club. He knows what it was built from in the 80s. Going through the Dogs of War stage into the 90s and the 2000s. So he understands that. He builds clubs, and he's the perfect man for that club. He knows exactly how that club should be built, what it runs on, family club, culture, how they're supposed to be run. He's the perfect man.
I think what people underestimate too is blokes like Gus Gould and Bellamy and Wayne Bennett. There's a few around. Players will go to a club and they will sign for less than what they would sign at a club where they don't have that same sort of aura about them. So you might pay Phil Gould X amount a year, but the amount that you'll save because A, sponsors love him. He's got the top end of town. B, players will sign for $100,000 less because they know he's building something good there. So I don't think, as you say, you can't underestimate the power of having someone like Phil Gould in the back office and what he brings as well.
Yeah, he brings so much. As I said, he knows the fabric of the club and how it was built. He was part of that. He was there with Bullfrog and all that kind of stuff. And they've lost that over the last 10 years. They've lost it with their juniors. Like Des got them to 2 grand finals but Des did it his way. He did not really care about the Bulldog culture or anything like that. So Gus knows everything the club needs, and he will attract a lot of sponsors, a lot of players, because, as you said, they've been in that basket case for about 4 or 5 years now, probably more, where you're going to go to the Titans before you go to the Dogs. You're going to sign somewhere else, and the Bulldogs was the last resort. Like, that's never been the case. Which usually 1 or 2 clubs, you either sign with one club or you sign with the Bulldogs. That was always the case. You'd want to go play for that club. Now it's coming back. So, and success breeds that, but it wasn't even about success. It was about the culture of the club, and they lost their way. They've got some really good people in there at the moment, the chairman, the CEO, and Gus and Trent Barrett, and they're looking to go to the top. They'll be shooting that way, and they've got the right people in place.
I think, interestingly, Will, I saw one of your old teammates, Rennie. Big shout out to Rennie. Just did his knee surfing, but he sort of said the same sort of thing that you've said, that Canterbury side of, they talk about the Dogs of War, and they go back, I guess, to that pack with you and Sonny Bill and O'Mealy, and it was a phenomenal pack. But he said there was an expectation that you just won, and Canterbury somewhere along the line lost that. Even when they were winning under Des Hazard, they didn't have that sort of same aura about them. That's what I think they're trying to build. And
that stemmed from the juniors. So what happened was, with Des, when Des come in, they just give Des all the resources and all the money and said, go. And he bought whoever he wanted to. He didn't cultivate anything with the juniors. All he was doing was buying first graders, buy this, buy that, trying to just stick it together and then hopefully win a comp. And he nearly did. He did. Des did some great things. I'm not trying to say that he did anything wrong, but he took that, didn't really worry about the cap. He just wanted to buy. Hopefully jag a comp. Didn't do it. Then it set the club back to where it is now. And then you put other coaches in, have some bad recruits and all that kind of stuff, bad coaches, bad recruitment. And then that's the position you get in right now. It is. But like, if you just say from 2004, you go from that team there, I think 12 or 13 players come through the Jersey Flag system. Gary Carden was a big part of that. Coming through SG Board to Jersey Flag to reserve grade, first grade. I'm pretty sure like 13 players, bar Luke Patton, Marco Mealy, maybe Andrew Ryan. Everyone else, we come through Jersey Flag system. You know what I mean? Like, so you come through that system, and I've said it before. It was a privilege to drink their Gatorade, to get a locker, to train in the full-time squad, to wear the same Nike stuff as first grade. It was a privilege, and it was levels to get to that. Whereas now it's just like given to you, and that's the culture that you're not talking 50 years ago. You're talking 15 years ago, and somehow it's gotten lost. And there's no way you can't lose culture like that. That's easy. You just have to maintain it. It's already been built, and they've somehow lost it. And now it's starting to come back. And Gus knows everything about that club, and I think he's the main guy for that. As I said, like, to come through that system as me as a young kid, earning all your stripes, earning everything that you got, it makes it all such a sweet thing when you do win the big thing.
Well,
and that's why it was such a special moment.
Let's talk about Pangai Jr. If he does go to Penrith, if the rumours, and the drums are beating pretty loudly, if he does go to Penrith, what does that mean for Penrith's tilt at the final? And I think it's a race of 2 between Melbourne and Penrith. Does that tip the scales in favour of Penrith all of a sudden? Because if you get Pangai right, he can be a dominating footballer.
Yeah, I just don't understand why Penrith would go for him when they've got probably one of the best, well-balanced packs in the competition, I think. But probably having him. Are you going to start him? Probably not. You got kick out. You got Moses Leota, Fisher Harris, Isaiah Yeo, Capewell. You're probably going to play him on the bench. I'm not sure.
You're playing him on the bench.
You're probably going to play him off the bench, and then it does stack the deck. It does stack the deck massively. And I still don't think it tips them in their favour, because they don't know how Pangai Jr. plays. It's all about, they've got a great system at Penrith. He might come in there and throw a bit of a I'm not sure. Like, it just won't be as smooth as what they are now. It's like clockwork what they do. Every sort of forward knows their job. They play to a certain structure, and like he might just he mightn't suit the way they play. Me personally, if I was him, I'd probably sit the year out.
Yeah.
I would. There's probably 8 more games. I would not risk it. I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk injury. Touch wood. I hope nothing happens to him. Brisbane pay my contract, and I'll be on my way. And
Well, he probably
I'm
thinks
not sure what's happening with the World Cup. He can probably play for Tonga if he wants to. But me personally, if I'm 25 years old, he's played a hell of a lot of football. Mentally, probably needs a bit of a break. Sit back, train your ass off, get in that mode, and just get ready for next year. That's me personally, but players play. I always say that. It's easy for me to say that, 41-year-old retired ex-player, but like if I was him, I would probably sit out. But
he probably thinks he's going to come in and win a comp.
He probably does, exactly.
He's not going to go and play for like Canterbury now, for example. No. Because what's the point? You get injured, you miss out the whole start of next season. But
I'm not sure
for a side that's a genuine premiership threat.
That's the only reason why I can see him play is because he might get the chip. You know what I mean? Well, other than that, like if it was anyone else bar Melbourne and Penrith, you're probably going to sit out the year. But because Penrith's come on, and you probably have to pay him, I'm not sure, maybe probably close to $200,000 for 8 to 12 games. I'm not sure. It's a fair risk from Penrith.
Well, Brisbane have been prepared to pay for half of his contract.
Sure. But I think Penrith are pretty sure they're one piece off. Because you have a look at Melbourne, you look at Welsh, Bromwich, Big Nars, that Kamikamica, Welsh, you've got big boys, you know what I mean? Big boys in that team. And they're probably worried about the size because remember last year's grand final, they got blown off the field in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've probably got a little bit of that in the memory bank going, we're down on size because their biggest bloke is Fisher Harris. And he's not that big. He just plays like he's 6'5" and 120 kilos. Pangai Jr., he's a big body. He can come on and destroy teams. So I think Cleary's going, you know what, we might be one off because look at the bench that Melbourne have. You take Bromwich off, you put Big Nars back on. Kamikamica, Welsh, Bromwich, the other Bromwich, Kafusi, Finucane. Like it's stacked. They are stacked, Melbourne. So if you think you're in with a shot this year, you better stack the deck. And I think that's what they're doing.
What do you reckon? I mean, looking at, again, we're always big on balance of teams. If you look at that Penrith side, that you talk about the Bulldogs in your era, they all came up through the grades together through Flegg and, through ball or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden they're playing first grade. And that bonds a team because you've been through the grades together. That Penrith side has done it. They've been through a lot, right? So all of a sudden, one of their mates, it's hard to say who it is, whether it's Moses Leota or Spencer Lanu or whatever it might be, he now gets flicked out of that sort of 17. Does that affect the balance of the side? I mean, a lot of these blokes probably don't know, Tavita. Are they full-time professionals and it won't matter? Or do they think...
I think so. I mean, like if a kid like Pangai Jr. comes in, and that's just going to breed competition. Competition brings out the best in people. You know what I mean? So you want to be part of that 17. So these kids this week and the next week after, they're going to be playing lights out. You know what I mean? Because they know if Pangai Jr. comes, he's probably going to slot straight into that 17 or play one Reggie's game and then go straight into that team. You're not buying him to play reserve grade. Yeah, I'm just trying to be nice. But I don't know. I'm not sure if, like look at Liam Martin, and Spencer Lienu and who else is on the bench? I'm not sure. Leota starts. He's your starting prop. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's two other benchies there that are going to be under the pump. And maybe, as I said, maybe Cleary's looking at that going, we're one short of trying to deal with Melbourne. And Pangai Jr. could be a boy. That's the only reason why he's doing it. I'm just going to check the people on the bench for Penrith. So that's the only reason why you do that.
Because I know
you got Scott Sorensen. So Scott Sorensen's going to be the one who's under the pump.
He's gone. Yeah.
Because you got Mitch Kenny, Sorensen, Spencer Lienu, and Liam Martin. So Liam Martin, Spencer's not, and they are going anywhere. Mitch Kenny's your number 9, your interchange, and Scott Sorensen. So he's going to be under the pump.
Well, Sorensen comes from Cronulla as well, so that probably won't affect. Like he's not one of the ones that grew up. I thought maybe if one of the, but yeah, that's good. Look, I think it's a good signing, and I think good on Penrith for having the money.
It's a great signing.
Yeah,
it is a great signing.
Having the money available.
He has that X factor. He could take him over that. He can take him over that hump. He comes off the bench, you don't lose anything. And that's how the game goes now. He's fit. He can play big minutes. He can play in the middle, left edge, right edge, anywhere. Like he's that X factor kid, and he can take your biggest boy on, big Nas. He'd be going straight at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's got that. He doesn't fear anybody. He backs his own ability, and he'll crush anyone on his day. So that's why Cleary's got him. I think most teams would go for. It's a great move from Cleary. Great move.
Do you know what? He's probably actually going to take Tyrone May's spot.
Well,
because
Tyrone
when
May,
all the rest of them,
well,
so Tyrone May's probably gone.
So Tyrone May's probably going to go neck to neck with Mitch Kenny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, and I'd rather Mitch Kenny.
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you who they don't want to sign mid-season. Will?
Who's that?
Lachlan Lewis. Mate,
I can't believe that. Is the dumbest thing.
I
think it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen on a rugby league field.
And that's a big call because rugby league has provided some of the dumbest moments of all time.
Dumb stuff, man. But
that was outstanding.
What was it?
I don't know. Like I've never seen. I was actually watching it, and they're walking off the field, and there was a bit of argy-bargy. You know, Cody Walker obviously said something, and Lachlan Lewis said something back, and I thought this is good. Next thing you know, he's rock and roll wrestled him onto the ground, and I'm going, is this bloke serious?
It's like a joke.
Possesses you?
Like I don't understand. I mean, everybody just laughed, I suppose. I mean, I didn't know what to say. I looked, I went, what's he doing? Like, and I think Cody Walker didn't even say. I think there was a rumor going, I'll go back to Reggie's or something like that. And apparently someone in South said nothing like that was said. So
even
Cody
if
Walker
you said go back to reserve grade.
I don't think that warrants a judo flip.
It doesn't need
Ronda Rousey would be proud. Oh, hey? Like I don't understand. He just like it was like so premeditated and just like. Oh.
And it was the worst little flip of all time, but there was no aggression in it. It was just like, what are you doing?
Saying. Like,
what do you think?
Imagine if he tried to flip me, I just would have stood there. What are you doing? Stop it! Stop! I think Cody Walker just was shocked. He was shocked. I'm not sure what you have to say to try and judo flip someone. But even if he says, go back to Reggie's, mate, like, so what? He should have said, yeah, I will, next week.
I actually am. He definitely is now.
Don't worry.
He's going back now.
You see Baz going, what did you do? Because, like, no, what, they win at halftime. And then, like, he's been playing some good football, Lachlan Lewis. That's just it's one of the strangest things I've seen for a while. I don't get it. I don't get. I just want to know it because it looked like he was smiling at him. You know, it didn't look like they were in each other's face. I could get it if you're in each other's faces. There's some real verbal shit going along. Bang head like it is now. You just probably get them in a headlock or grab their jerseys and stuff like that. You don't just come from the side and try and give him a little bit of a judo flip.
But if you've had a brain snap, generally what will happen if you have a brain snap is your adrenaline pumps up so much, you just go and you just whack a bloke. But he didn't even do that. It was like he cuddled him and then he was like, I think he got halfway through it and went, he didn't know what he was doing.
I thought it was a G-out. I thought they were mates who went to school to each other.
It was like that.
It's just like, come here. All right, I'm going to hug you to the ground. Cody Walker,
very strange.
What the fuck are you doing? Get off me, punk.
Well, speaking of brain snaps, last weekend also saw Kane Evans get sanctioned for writing something on his wrist. Now, I don't know, Will, like this whole new writing things on your wrist and that. The last time we saw Kane Evans, he was shadowboxing in a room while his mate had a rub and tug. Yeah. And now he's written something on his wrist and it was, I don't know. I feel like if someone signs a $1 million broadcast deal, there's going to be cameras there, isn't there? Like you think they might actually, this is on television. I'm not just playing in the park. Someone's going to see this, but no, he still managed to get the Posca out and on the wrist and away you go.
I don't get it. I don't think it deserves a fine. I think it's just bizarre what he wrote. Well, it's a bit petty. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I sit on this. It's like I could never find myself writing anything on my wrist anyway. But like 5,000, you reckon that's a little bit much?
Oh, look, if I'm running the game and I see that, and then all of a sudden it's all over the news, I'm going, I can't do nothing. Yeah. You know, like
he's left. The hands are tied, aren't they? He let the NRL know
you got to do something.
Decision, but to fine him, you can't just let people write like profanity like that. Like, I mean, I think he could probably write the you can say fuck or something like that, I suppose. But like, I'm not sure what the difference is between that and the C-bomb. It's just a word in my book. I don't get offended by it. I don't get offended by much, but like, I'm like, I get it. I understand why they did it. For me, I just laugh and go, why would you write that?
Why would you write it? Did you think he was sitting there in a game? Like, and he played that game. Do you reckon every now and then he'd run up the defensive line going, what am I taking? I'm going to say, oh, that's right. I'm going to go and fold this bloke. I get it.
Like, that's something. Kane's he's a good kid, man. I love him. Just don't write anything next time, kid. Just
no more writing.
Just more actions. More actions. I'm more about that action, boss. Oi, just get out there and fold some washing or something when you get home.
Matt Lodge did it as well. It's excellent company, but
I just don't get it. I do get that. I understand why you write stuff on your wrist. Some people write, for our younger kids, they write something, for some kids in hospital, for their for their family and all that kind of stuff. I get it. Cody Walker's got beautiful things on his wrist, and that makes him, it plays with a lot more emotion and all that kind of stuff. I get it. There's a reason for that kind of stuff, but that just leave it in here.
I'll tell you one thing,
let the actions take it.
Here's something. If people don't think that affects kids, when my son played up in the state championships over the long weekend, back when people were allowed to leave their house and actually play football, but one of the kids used to write things every day. He'd write stuff on his wrist, right? He was taping his wrist for no reason.
Yeah, it does. The ripple effect is huge.
Mate, he wrote on the thing, and I said, "Oh, mate, what are you writing on your wrist there?" And he wrote the name of the dead dog, like the family dog that had died. And I said, "Oh, mate, is that inspiring you?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, I just look at that, and it just makes me think about the dead dog. I went, all right.
Yeah, but so now, it does. Like, these young kids copy and emulate everything that these guys do on TV, from goal kicking to how they strap their ankles, to what boots, not ankles, their wrists, you know what I mean? How they wear their jerseys and all that kind of stuff. Like, they try and copy everything. And, I don't think Kane thought it through. Obviously not. He's just thinking, I need this. This makes me play better. Therefore, I'm going to write it on my wrist, slapped him with $5,000.
Yeah. Well, all the kids are listening.
I'm not sure if it's...
Don't write that on your hand.
I mean, hey, all for writing stuff on your wrist, kids, if whatever motivates you, but, keep the language. Just do not write that. Anything else but that. Do not write that.
That's the one word. All right, last thing, World Cup. There's been a bit of hoo-ha about that. It's supposed to be at the end of the year. I mean, it's probably a moot point anyway, because I don't think anyone's travelling ever. But they're certainly not travelling in the next little while. But some of the players, James Tedesco, who is definitely now in line, I guess, to captain the Australian side, because Daly Cherry Evans is probably going to struggle to make the Australian side with the rise of Nathan Cleary. He said he wants to play. The players want to play, that. The clubs don't, because that's their cattle and that's their, that's their money. What do you reckon?
I understand from the clubs. They've always been like that. Even when I was playing, they'd always try and get you to opt out if you could, especially in the lower tier nations, the Samoan teams, Tongan teams, all the Pacific Island teams. The coaches have always been a little bit against that anyway. They're probably a little bit more pro now, but like during the 2000s, 2010s, I know a lot of coaches, they weren't really for the second tier nations, and it wasn't as crazy, and the Polynesian teams weren't as big as it is now. So all those coaches who used to frown upon it wouldn't dare do it now, because it means so much to the game. 60% of Polynesian, but I understand from like the World Cup way. I mean, whoever the governing body for the World Cup, like, they want it to go ahead, don't they?
Yeah, of course. Well, they say it'll go ahead with or without Australia. It'll go ahead.
And Australia doesn't want to do it. Like, and who did Barry McDermott say some shit like, we're going to get like James Maloney?
He said get the expat players.
Get a bunch of scabs to play. Like, do you think that if you haven't played if you haven't played a test for Australia and you're playing in Super League, and they go, hey guys, do you want to play for Australia in the World Cup, that anybody would play? Come on, Big Barry. You don't hand these jerseys out like nothing. And those guys would never, ever take it. And if they did, the worst people in the world. It's terrible. Like, honestly, they would never do
They
it.
would
You'd have to be the
100%
lowest-
take it.
You would have to be the lowest person ever taking an Australian jersey that you didn't deserve.
Mate,
Trust
they
me.
would 100% take it. And then
They
they would
wouldn't
come
do
to
it.
the
They would
kangaroo
not.
reunions.
They would
Yes,
not.
they would.
They would not do it, Bernard. They would not. It's just too much pride and too much ego involved, and they know how hard it is to get one, and it will never happen. But I still think that the World Cup will go ahead because every other nation is going to play. But I get it. Like, the clubs are always like that because they pay. They're the ones that are paying you. There's how many injuries have been coming out of Origin and Test football that the club's always whinging about. You know, like they're going to be the first ones to go, hey, no, sit out here. You know, like it's going to be, you won't get that much of a preseason, all that kind of stuff. The best players will be in that Australian team and they'll come back and they'll still be the best players. Simple. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're not going to say no, I don't think I'll play in a World Cup because I want to come back and do a preseason. To be an idiot.
Who wants to do a preseason?
You would have to be an idiot, mate. You just like preseasons take years off your life. You know what I mean? I mean, off your football life. Look at Cameron Smith. He went on about 10 kangaroo tours. That's why he played till he's 38. He only had to do
training in end of February.
He had to turn up in like late January.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You miss out on November and December, the hardest things in the world. Mate, I went on 5 kangaroo tours. It was the best thing ever because I didn't have to turn up to train until the 18th of January for about 6 years. Like, it's the best thing ever. And you come back and you play your best football because you're hanging out with all the best players. You feed off each other. It's a great experience. You're never going to take that away from these players. And these players will be the first ones to put their hands up and play. All the Pacific Islands will be stacked. Everyone will be stacked. And Australia will be because they want to win. And Teddy deserves to be captain.
To be honest, Will, you reckon that pre-seasons took years off your life? Let me tell you, those kangaroo tours and what you did to yourself on them, they took longer off your life than any pre-season ever could have.
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right.
Mate,
it's not the kangaroo tours. It's what happens after the kangaroo tours.
I think I know what I meant. All right. So
did you?
I
don't know you.
Parramatta. Let's go into the games are actually okay because everything's sort of settled down. All the Origin players are back. One thing, Parramatta are playing against the Raiders. Mitchell Moses apparently broke his back. He broke his back.
Is broken.
His spinal.
What do you mean, Moses? Vertebrae? No, spinal.
Spinal. Look, I don't know. Does that cloud then your judgment of how he played? Did he not run the ball because he had a Mike Tyson broken back in Origin?
I don't know. I'm not really going to comment there. I'm just commenting on how I thought he played. If he did break his back in the first minute, then he has every excuse to play shit.
Yeah, he played unreal with a broken back.
Well, he played good with a broken back.
The Raiders, again, look, bettingsite.com.au, who are huge sponsors of the show, and we really appreciate everything they do for us. They've got the Raiders listed here at almost $4. That's a bit.
What?
I mean, Whiten's out, to be fair, but still, Parramatta haven't been that good, have they?
Yeah, no, Parra played really well last week. They played some really good football. Nathan Brown was hitting Madison. Madison was hitting holes, mate. They played really well. No Junior Paulo as well. So, mate, they did some good things. They're looking all right, Parramatta.
Yeah, they look all right.
But Moses, don't miss Moses. Like, Moses is a great club player, good club player. I don't know. I mean,
they got young Arthur.
But Raiders, no Whiten. So he's the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah. Well, they won without him he played last week, I guess. The Roosters against the Knights. This should normally be
a cracker
of a game. It just, I don't know. I think if you look at that Roosters side, I was looking at them on the weekend. I watched them play, and I thought I really like young Billy Smith, and he's been picked in the side ahead of Josh Morris. Josh Morris has been dropped. I don't know whether that's just a little kick in the arse. Yeah, got dropped. So Billy Smith will start over him with Manu. They've got Tedesco. So Tedesco is back, and they've got Billy Smith and Manu in the centres, which is looking at the future, obviously.
Decent side. Still decent.
If you look at the side, mate, no Friend, no Cordner, no Lindsay Collins. Last week they had no Takiaho. They've got no Keary, no Brett Morris. Like I don't reckon a side has been as decimated by the Roosters, but they just keep winning.
Because they have that culture. They have that winning culture. They know how to win. And they've got one of the best coaches in the game. And they've got great leadership. They lost, and as you said before, like, look at the leadership that they lost. You know what I mean? And then they keep turning up. Hats off to Jared Warrior-Hargraves, has been playing lights out, 80 minutes for about 2 or 3 weeks. Some big minutes, man. So he's been going well, been leading from the front. You know, this game, they should win. They've got I don't think that the Knights have beaten them for, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years, ages, a long time. So the Knights will pour. They'll really pour against Melbourne.
I like it. Just 6 or 7 years. Fact check. And you say it with such confidence too that I believe you every time. Is that why we're still friends? Because you say things, I just believe what you say.
I swear. Away. Oh, Henry, fact check that. When?
Someone's going to text us and I'm going to tell us, when's the last time? Henry's sitting there wearing a monkey suit. The Storm against the Cowboys. Storm just win that.
Can anybody? I tweeted on the weekend. I don't even, because I don't really read the replies. I said, I think it's pretty much a 2-horse race, Penrith and the Storm. But if the Storm keep playing as they are, no injuries or anything, no one's going to come near them.
No,
nobody will come near them. Honestly, I've never seen it like this ever. Not for ages where it's a clear cut winner. You know what I mean? Penrith have to get, just say if they get Pengai Jr., they get Cleary and Luai playing like they did in the first 12, 13 rounds, and then they will battle Melbourne. But who else?
No one.
I just can't see it, because look how stacked Melbourne are. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And every time
South's on their day.
Melbourne's going to come back to the pack. No, they're not. No one.
What about this?
No one's going to get
I actually thought, and I look now at, I mean, Ryan Pappenhausen was probably the best player in the competition for the first 6 or 7 rounds, right?
Yeah.
Now he's coming back from injury. They've got Nico Hines, who's probably been one of the best backs in the competition for the last 3 or 4 weeks, or probably more. So they go, all right, well, we'll put Pappenhausen on a utility role on the bench. Now, whether he starts there or whether he starts at fullback and they're playing Ducks and Drakes, that's to be seen. But at the end of the day, what about the depth of this side? There is just no bad players in the 17.
And like, I don't know where it starts from. Like, is it the recruitment? Is it the culture of the club? You know, to lose 3 or 4, like just say 5 of the best players in the last, 5 years, and they still don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Losing Cooper Cronk, they're like, oh, we're going to struggle here. Nope. Jerome Hughes. Oh, we lost Cameron Smith. Of course, you're obviously not going to be as good as they were. Brandon Smith, Harry Grant. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, Olam. Like, how do you see that kid on that left edge?
I love him.
You know, Fox, you know what I mean? Lose Vunivalu. You get like Jennings back, and oh mate, it's just stacked, and it's just such a great team. They're actually really good to watch. They keep evolving. It's unreal.
The Knights beat the Roosters in 2019, because that's what this show provides us. It provides us the ability to fact check your shit, and I've fact checked it. And 2019, when I say fact checked it, someone just texted me. But anyway.
They're wrong. They are wrong.
And the other thing as well, Will, if you look at sides struggle at 9, style, fullback's so important. You look at the Storm, they've got probably 2 of the best fullbacks and 2 of the best hookers, and they can't even fit them all on the one side. It's phenomenal how good they are.
Just lend one out. Like Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith is the best hooker in the world.
Well, they let Harry Grant out last year. They still couldn't help the Tigers, eh? Poor old Tigers, they still couldn't go all right. Souths against the Warriors. Souths absolutely killed my multi last week. I had 5 legs. I'm off Souths. I hope the Warriors beat them.
Was that the Bulldogs? Because the Bulldogs scored 1 try. Was it right at the end?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, William. No, I like the Dogs now. The way they've gone, because we'll talk about the Dogs when we come up to them, but they've pushed Roosters and Souths last 2 weeks. I don't think Bulldogs are going as bad as everyone says. But anyway,
the
Rabbitohs will win that. Manly, the Tigers. Did you actually see I watched it last night, but they've got that Tigers documentary where they've got, I think it's 4 episodes. So the first episode was last night. They had Michael Maguire. They got really good access to all of the dressing room stuff, and they got the CEO, and it was actually a really good show. I think all of those shows where they show the bones of a dressing room and how things are done and how clubs work, it's good for the game and it's good for the Tigers. But
what's it on Fox Sports or?
Yeah, it's on Fox. So I think you can get it on KO as well. I know you're a massive fan of KO now, but watching that documentary, Michael Maguire doesn't come across quite as hard as, I mean, I think he trains him hard, but I think he's actually quite a genuinely caring sort of bloke.
No,
But
he is. He's a really nice guy. He's a great bloke, Madge. He's just very passionate, and he's a good coach. He demands perfection, and that's just not what he's getting at the moment. So I think he's just got to deal with, just the next. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how long they actually deal with him. That's the thing, because they brought him there to give the 8 a bit of a shock. He's got decent cattle there. They're just not playing well. I don't know. He's a good bloke. He's a really good bloke.
I think Manly, Manly on their day with Schuster playing the way he's playing, with Trebojevic being probably the best player in the comp, with, that Manly side, considering I think they lost their first 4 games or something, everyone wrote them off. Like where they've come back to now. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but
anyway,
how do you reckon they'll go? How do you reckon, just say if they finish 4th, they get to play Melbourne, they get beat. How do you reckon they go after that? Do you reckon they can give it a crack?
Look, I think as you say, with Trebojevic, I think with the side that they've got, if Turbo turns up and has a lights out game, I think they can probably beat it on their day. But if and the other team, like if it's Melbourne are going to have an off day, and Manly are going to have their best day of all time. So, but how many off days do Melbourne have?
They don't have many. No.
The Panthers against the Broncos. Look, the Broncos are, I mean, they were winning. I was about to say they're winning. They didn't win last week, but they're winning.
Better. They're competing.
They're going better.
Still got a good team, man. They just need to find something. Brody Croft and Tyson Gamble are not the answers. I don't know. I've really lost all hope in the Broncos fully. I used to try and think, the old Broncos would come back and win these, games if they played the Bulldogs or played a lower sort of team. But they're very beatable on any day, especially this one. Reynolds
will offer a bit for
Reynolds will be a lot better, and I think they've recruited really well.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
so
and Tyson Gamble. I still do not want to be next to him in a pub. Capewell's a good signing. The Titans against the Dragons. This is game over for the Titans if they can't win this.
Yeah, Dragons have got that team still, man. They threaten everyone. They play some pretty tough football, but the Titans, they need to win this game. I mean, the hype was everywhere, wasn't it, in the preseason?
Yeah.
Now this is the real deal right now. Still got a good team. Like Brimson's back finally. Losing Fogarty, dislocated finger. Toby Sexton. I don't know who that kid is.
There's huge raps on him, Will. There is huge raps on this Sexton kid.
Well, that's good. So maybe they need someone like that. So like Ash Taylor can start controlling that team. Look at that pack still. Wallace, Fodawaker, Proctor, Fafita, and Big Tina. That's like one of the best packs. Mitch Rain.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the best packs in the game. So something's really going wrong with the Titans. I'm not sure. What are they coming? 11th? It seems to be one of those years again. Yeah, it is. I mean, they need to win at least 6 from 8 to give it a good crack.
Well, the side that they'll probably, if they do start winning games, that they'll leapfrog is the Sharks. The Sharks, shit house last week. They're playing against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs, I reckon, I just said it before, I'll say it again, they are not going as badly. For them to push 2 top 6 sides, or top 5 sides if you count the Roosters as 5th, they're not going that bad because they've been in that fight the whole way through. They've been a 60-minute side. They're seemingly improving. And
that's all you ask for, because you have a look at their roster. We say it all the time. You look, the roster doesn't, it doesn't say you should win games, especially big games. But all we expect is to be competitive and effort. And that's what the fans are getting, and that's what everyone's getting. The club's getting that. The players are dishing it out. They're playing some really good football. Now it's just time to try some new things, some new combinations. You've got 8 more games to go. Try and win about 50% of them, but be competitive in every single game. And that's all you ask for, because they haven't got the cattle there to win these big games. I mean, they've got the cattle to beat Cronulla, but to go against South and the Roosters and compete with them for over 60 minutes and 70 minutes against the Roosters, it's saying a lot. It is.
Yeah.
You know, and it builds character. And they can take that into next year. You can take that into preseason. You know, so it's looking on the way up because you haven't looked at that team that they're going to, you know, next year will be all right. Then they won't have any excuses because they're going to have the cattle there. Then the axe will come swinging down if they don't win.
Well, they've signed a couple of outside backs and they've also signed a couple of, Will?
Big boys.
Big boys.
Ooh, nice.
Willie's.
Anyway, guys, my big boys for the weekend. I didn't really study the game, to be honest. I didn't really watch that much footy. I'm not sure why. I wasn't that busy, but there was a few other sports on. I think I flicked over to the Union. I was watching a few other things. The NBA Finals has been on. Just been a little bit too busy to watch that much football, but I did catch a few games. And 1 point goes to Payne Haas. His efforts have been outstanding, even though they did lose. But he's playing like some massive minutes. I think it's like 60 plus minutes a game. His tackle involvements are around like 35 plus. But his effective tackling is around about 90%, which is outstanding. The big man just gets around the field so easy. He's an absolute machine. He's really kicked it up a gear from Origin. He's been outstanding. Number 2, big Marty Tapau, playing some big minutes for Manly. He's a senior player in that team. He's played over, I think it's about 200, 250 games now, you know, over 20 tests. You know, he's been a stalwart for Manly. He's been a really good player. I think it's like 14 hit-ups, over 150, 60 metres, 30 tackles, you know, 85% effective tackle. You know, like he takes all the tough runs. He does a lot. He's developed a pre-pass. He can pass before the line. He passes out the back well. So that therefore, if he has that shape with him, he's always getting the one-on-ones. So he's sort of taken that role where Jake Trbojevic used to get it all the time and play that block shape all the time. Now Marty's getting the ball. He's getting that shape all the time. He either digs in himself or he passes out the back. He can hit the front guy now. So he's really evolved as one of the premier props in the game. And 3 points, James Fisher-Harris. I can't fault the kid. I mean, the meters that he's making and the impact that he's doing with and without the ball is unbelievable. He's averaging, I think he got close to I think it was 180, 190 meters off 16 or 17 hit-ups. But he's getting the ball. He's at least getting the ball 20 to 25 times a game. So he's passing a hell of a lot as well. So he's moving the middles around a lot. So they do such great work. They do such great work of moving the opposition middles around. You know, him and Isaiah Yeo as well. They connect with their edge back rollers. They've got some really good things happening now to Penrith. He hits hard. He hits as hard as he runs. He's the premier prop in the game, probably in the world at the moment. And he deserves it. He'll be up there by the end of it. You know, I think Junior Paulo missed out this week because he didn't play. But, the big boys are on show every week. It's always hard. I actually got it, I watched the game. I watch every game. I usually watch every game. But it's getting harder and harder to pick these big boys because they dominate games. They absolutely dominate games.
It is a race of 3 at the moment. We've got Payne Haas and James Fisher-Harris on 16 votes, and we have got Junior Paulo on 13 votes. So those 3 blokes at this point, they're really, and they're all in sides that are, other than Payne Haas, who's just a freak in a bad side. But, you know, Para and Penrith are up there. They're really starting to push for finals football. I'll tell you what, though, Young Henrys, who are a terrific sponsor of the show, and they're responsible.
What are you drinking? What's that? The Unifier.
Mate, the Unifier. It's, I don't know if anyone who's listening likes sort of a pale ale, but this is some outstanding stuff. They sent it last week, and let me tell you, this is a fantastic beer. I've had about 13 of them tonight, but it's good. It is a very good drink. And so the winner of the Big Boys, Willie's Big Boys, will receive a case a week for 52 weeks, and they'll also receive...
the coaches will thank me. What else?
They'll be bigger by the end of it too. But they'll also receive from Bondi Tony's a burger a week, which, as I've said many, many times, we will collect for them because they're all from either the western suburbs or
it's going to be
from
amazing.
Brisbane. Not allowed to leave your local government area. So,
that's right. Unless
till 2027.
Unless Joe Bria Hargraves comes out of the blue and I just start giving him 3 points every week.
Well, you won't because I won't allow it. So thanks again to Young Henrys and thanks again to Bondi Tony's and good work, all of the big boys. That brings us to, this is painful now. We're going to bring in Harry from bettingsite.com.au. Harry, how are you, mate?
Guys, I'm doing okay. I hope we're all safe in lockdown. Everyone's healthy. Yeah, look, I mean, you were royally screwed over right at the death by the Bulldogs last week with your bet. Yeah, but apart from that, everything's great.
Mate, that was sickening. That was I'll tell you what. And
a bit like me the week before, but.
Yeah, it was 100%. And it seems like we're just getting knocked over in that last leg all the time. And let me tell you, as having grown up in the eastern suburbs and been a Roosters junior, the hatred that I am supposed to feel for South, I've never felt. But now I hate South. I hate South Sydney so much.
South Sydney. You belong in the borough, mate. You belong in the borough.
Do you not see my teeth? Actually, Young Henrys is a massive fan of them. I shouldn't say that. I love South Sydney supporters. Let me tell you, though.
Oscar hates you, bro.
Dog shit try at the end. Harold, so what I'm going to do this week.
Okay.
Because
run me through it.
I'm starting to get to a point where I'm doubting myself. We've got $3,000 in the kitty, which, I mean, it's a nice start, but I wouldn't say
put it all on a horse.
On fire. So this is why we don't let you bet. So I'm going to go for a nice, easy, just get us back on track. I've taken the Titans to cover the start and the Bulldogs with the start because I think the Bulldogs have been good the last couple of weeks, as I've just explained.
I agree with you on that one. I think, first of all, you're getting $3.88 with Sportsbet for that little two-legger. Bulldogs have been pretty decent the last fortnight. Gave the Roosters all they could handle. Gave Souths, they look like they're freewheeling a bit more. They look like they've got more points in them now. Maybe that's Barrett sort of getting his way, and getting the side playing the way he wants them to. But yeah, overall, I think the Sharks are in a little bit of trouble in that game because in the last fortnight, the Sharks have been pretty dodgy. And if they show up, like they have been, all over the Bulldogs on that one. I'm a little bit iffy on the Titans leg there for you. They are just so disappointing.
Yeah, but they're independently disappointing. So the Dragons have got no players.
Really?
So they go good, bad, good, bad. They were awful last week. So surely
you go on the bounce back. Okay, there's a method.
Go on the bounce back.
Look, that's fine.
Yeah, great technique. It's working out.
Look, you only need two legs for a $3.88 return. Like that's sweet. I mean, you had to have 5 legs to that last week. So
exactly,
you've got less to go wrong.
All right. Well, let's go into Williams. Bets.
Okay. All right. The Roosters and Knights over 49.5. Souths and New Zealand over 50.5. Ruben Garrick anytime try scorer because our man Turbo's back, and Brian To'o anytime try scorer. That left edge is going to be on fire.
All right. I've just finished writing the preview for that game, Willie, and I agree with you. Brian To'o is scoring a try. So Ladbrokes are giving you $7.85. Really good odds.
That's not bad.
Ruben Garrick, whenever Tom Trbojevic plays, Ruben Garrick scores.
I'm not a super coach man, but I watched the stats on Saab and Ruben Garrick when Trbojevic is not playing. They're single figures.
Yeah, it's
single
ridiculous.
Figures. I'm not sure how it works, but they go from like just say 80 to 9.
Yeah, it's
Come
unbelievable.
On, Turbo. Me, Turbo. Save me.
Yeah.
Harry, do you play Supercoach?
No, I don't actually.
You don't. Can I tell you, William Mason, for many years I played Supercoach and I had to put him in my team because I would have felt like the most disloyal person in the world. And Willie was about quality, not quantity. You know what I mean? Like he would come out and he'd fold blokes in half and he'd do this. And it was, if you got points for impact, but you don't in Supercoach.
No,
so
you've got to be an accumulator.
Yeah,
I never got it.
So much better since he's no longer playing.
Hindmarsh, the Supercoach king.
Mate, why didn't you play an extra 5 minutes? I'm like, What time's up, mate? I'm on.
Tell Wayne to
Holy
put you
cow.
back on the field, Will.
Yeah.
I'm like, all because you want your super coach points? I don't understand it. Wasn't there in the 2000s. Get lost.
785 is a good win. So the producer who, I don't know if there's, remember Lay Down Sally, the rower?
Oh,
She
Sally
just-
Robbins, yes.
Yeah, she just lay down in the
Oh.
boat.
Yeah.
This is basically the producer's Lay Down Sally bet.
Oh my God, that might be the biggest
Oh,
sludge
that's
of all
that. That
time.
hurts.
That
Yeah,
is
that's terrible.
This
mate.
is just,
The
I've given
show-
up.
you
I'm
know,
just lying down in
She
the
listens
boat.
to the show. She listens to the show. She's a
Sally-
big
Sally.
fan.
Big fan of the show, Sally.
Big fan.
She listens to it lying down with her AirPods in.
Big fan
Right.
of young Henry's, I am. Tell you that
Yeah.
much.
Okay. So look, it is Olympics. The Matildas are
Mm.
playing later tonight. So the Olympics are getting underway. And the producer.
When is the Olympics? When is it?
Well, it's starting tonight. So the opening ceremony is Friday, but the Matildas are playing in soccer tonight because they start a few events early so they can fit it all in. So it's all
The betting
happening.
site, the bettingsite.com.au have a market on that bloke. He said, I've had enough. I'm going to shut the whole Olympics down. What's the market on the Olympics even going ahead? Can I get $1.50 that it's going to even, they're just going to call it off?
Mate, they've got this far. I actually thought about this morning, what if there's a massive outbreak in the athletes' village? Do they just march on with whatever athletes they can get on, like if there's
Going to get
only
the St George team just to go over there.
100%.
Warning's
Like,
fine.
to that?
Yeah, they're just going to hire the St George team and then go to Tokyo so they can can the whole Olympics.
Yeah.
From what I've heard about the athletes' village, there's probably going to be a massive outbreak, but it won't be of COVID.
There you go.
Straight to the pharmacist.
Harry, what have you got, mate? Oh, actually, what's a producer? So he's gone for the
So
fencing. He's got the
fencing.
Hungarian bloke. I'm not even going to pronounce the bloke's name.
Ion Salagi
Slizlag. Oh, there we go.
at $7 with Ladbrokes. So if you got nothing better to do this weekend, which unfortunately
No one does.
No one does. Get around the fencing.
Ah,
Right on the-
Hungarian fences. This is a low point. This is genuinely a low point.
Big
Let's
time.
ignore him. He's an imbecile. Harold, what do you got?
Oh, okay. So Ladbrokes, really popular with us this week, getting all the best prices at Ladbrokes. They've given me odds of $7.42. I am taking on that big line with the Storm at 26.5 against the Cowboys. They've won 14 games in a row and they've covered the line in every single win.
There you go.
So
There's a good stat.
And last week, someone on radio said for them to do that 14 times in a row, the mathematics of them doing that is about 700 to 1. So you're seeing something quite incredible from them. Like, it's just unbelievable what they're doing. I've got the Roosters at the 11.5 line as well. I think they win by 2 tries at least against, they don't have a goal kicker at the moment, but so 3 tries in their language. I'm going to bounce back with the Rabbitohs. I think Latrell Mitchell comes back in. They're a lot more dangerous. 7.5 start, taking that on. And just Manly to win straight up over the Tigers on Saturday night footy.
Yeah, I like it. So
Yeah,
what price are you getting here?
$7.42 with Ladbrokes.
Oh, come
There you go.
on.
So my
Harry and
bet
Mace.
is
Harry and Mace.
got-
That sounds
Yes.
good. Next show. Mace and Harry, not the take with Mace and Harry, the punters edition.
The
yeah,
Black
yeah,
Book.
good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Loser.
Harold, thank you very much. I actually hope we all get in the winner's circle
So
next
do I.
week,
We
but
need to come home.
we need
Very
something.
strong.
That
we need-
situation, we're not sabotaging one another.
No, it's the first time in a long time that we're not waiting for
About
someone
5
else's
weeks
bet
ago,
to fail.
same. But yeah, we're all in it. I like Willie's bet the most, I think.
I think the German's going to win the fencing. So I can't support the Hungarian in the fencing. That's the worst bet I've ever seen. This bloke is kidding himself. Mate, thank you again.
Is that for real? I
Thank
wasn't
you.
even listening.
Mate,
I
he's
wasn't
fair
listening.
dinkum. He's taken a fencer. I think he's had an operation at. I think he's
Yeah, I think he was on
influence
he's
of
hitting the more
anaesthetics.
hitting the
He's-
button too hard, eh?
he's got the green button.
Yeah, he got the green button. just
Mate,
hammering.
thank you very much. We will see you next week. Thank you again to bettingsite.com.au. We've got $3,000 in the kitty, mate. We are definitely going to have more at the end of this week.
Look, let's hope it gets closer to 4. And if you're
Thanks, Harry.
going to bet right, do it with Betting Site. And we'll see you guys later.
Always.
Thanks, mate. Can I do it this week, Will?
All right. All right, you do it. You do it.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name's Ian Byrne. You should all gamble responsibly. Thank you for listening. Did that sound like one of those messages?
Announcement.
Yeah, that's right. All right, mate. So we'll go into the tips quickly. I think every game.
Okay.
You've got Eels, Roosters, Storm, Rabbits, Eagles, Panthers, Dragons, and Bulldogs. The only real game. Oh, you got the Bulldogs. Nice.
Yeah, I went the Bulldogs and Dragons. So you went Titans and Sharks, didn't you?
Yeah, I went Titans, Sharks.
All right. Well, at least it makes it interesting anyway, because I'm nowhere near going to win this.
Doesn't matter.
And you might. And you might. Yeah.
Well, Harry and the producer are the same. I'm not going to say where you're at, but I'm on 99 and the other two crocodiles are on 95. Once again, proving that I am.
I want
195,
Anna.
You're on 4 million.
Lira.
All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode of The Tate with Willie Mason. I think that I have moved
Ian
around
Byrne.
so much. And Ian Byrne. I'm also here. The producer wanted, or the Zig, he does everything really, the producer and do anything, but he was worried about the light. I feel like I've moved around so much that I've actually disappeared behind. If you're watching us on Facebook, I think my head's disappeared a few times. I've gone too high, too low. Doesn't matter though, because this show's seamless.
Hey, you look good, mate. You look good.
Yeah, thanks, Will. We'll be on every Twitter game this week because we've got literally nothing else to do. So please rate, review, and subscribe.
Yeah,
Make sure
at the start, what I was saying at the start, make sure you take care of each other, people. We're all going through this together, and it's tough times, but everyone will get through it. Just don't be that dude who's going to tell on everyone and be a little bitch. But yeah, just be safe. Stay safe, guys. You too, Ian.
That wasn't a public service announcement.
It's not.
They'll be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL is Willie Mason.
I've forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake Media Network.